7 amazing people who survived the impossible. 1. Aron Ralston. In 2003, climber and hiker Aron Ralston went hiking near Robbers Roost in Utah that turned out to be a tragic point in his life. All alone on the expedition, Aron slipped and found himself trapped when an 800-pound boulder dislodged and pinned his arm against a stone wall. For 6 days, he somehow kept himself alive on his rations and water, while trying to free his arm, before realizing that it was impossible. For 6 days, he somehow kept himself alive on his rations and water, while trying to free his arm, before realizing that it was impossible. 2. Helen Claiborne. In 1963, 21-year-old Helen Claiborne wanted to travel from Fairbanks to Seattle and decided to save some money by flying with an amateur pilot named Ralph Flores. This decision almost cost them their lives as the plane was caught in a snowstorm and plummeted down to finally crash in a remote part of the Canadian wilderness. Both Claiborne and Flores survived the fall with a few broken bones, but now, they had no survival equipment as they lay injured in the jungles. They frugally consumed their little food supply, made a blanket out of the plane's carpet for heat, and used gasoline from the tank to light a campfire. When the food ran out, the duo consumed snow and lived on it for 42 days until an aircraft spotted them and they were finally rescued. 3. Janelle Guzman MC Milan. On September 11, 2001, Janelle Guzman MC Milan was at work in her office on the 64th floor of the World Trade Center's North Tower. When the fateful event occurred and the building was struck by the aircraft, her employers told her to stay put and wait for help. But after an hour, Janelle headed to the stairwell and began descending when suddenly, a wall collapsed on her. Janelle couldn't see anything and underwent tremendous pain as she kept praying for a respite. After a whole 27 hours, the rescuers found her and she lived to tell the tale. 4. Poon Lim. In 1942, a British merchant ship left Cape Town on a voyage across the Atlantic to pick up cargo at a port in Dutch Guiana. When the ship was 750 miles off the South American coast, it was torpedoed by a German boat and sank. Nobody survived the wreckage except a 24-year-old Chinese seaman named Poon Lim, who had managed to jump overboard. He even fashioned a makeshift fishing tackle to catch more food and drifted on the small raft for 133 days, making it one of the longest survivals at sea. Finally, he was spotted by Brazilian fishermen who rescued him and brought him to shore. 5. Dr. Anna Bagan. In May 2000, orthopedic surgeon in training Dr. Anna Bagan went skiing on a trail in Norway. Unfortunately, she lost her balance and fell headfirst into an icy river and became stuck under a layer of ice. She spent almost an hour in the freezing water, trying to free herself without success as her body kept losing heat rapidly. Another 40 minutes later, a team of her companions could finally break through the ice and drag her out. By then, her body temperature had dropped down to just 13.7 degrees Celsius. With a lot of efforts, emergency doctors managed to revive her, and after a few months, Anna returned to normal health. 6. Anatoly Bugorsky. Anatoly Bugorsky was a researcher at the Institute for High Energy Physics in Protvino, Russia. He became famous as a man who survived a proton beam passing through his brain. In 1979, Bug Gorski was looking at a misfunctioning piece of equipment in the particle accelerator when he experienced the worst-case scenario. His head got in the way of a proton beam, which went in from the back of his head, through his brain, and out his nose. While he didn't experience any pain, he described seeing a flash brighter than 1,000 suns. Somehow, Bug Gorski survived with a partial loss of hearing and a face that eventually became paralyzed. 7. Paul Rosalie. In 2014, the Discovery Channel was once airing a special documentary about anacondas featuring filmmaker Paul Rosalie. He slathered himself in pig's blood to draw the attention of the massive snake and was immediately coiled in its strong grip. Realizing that he wouldn't survive this ill-planned experiment, he implored the crew to save him as his head went through the snake's mouth. He became known as the man who was eaten alive by an anaconda.